Welcome to the worst of the best podcast. You wanted the best. Well, they didn't freaking make it! So here's what you get. From Canada, Ryan and
Jason. Welcome to another episode of the Worst of the Best podcast. I am your host, Ryan. With me today again is my brother, Jason. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Ryan. Happy to be here.
Good. I'm glad you're happy. That's a good sign. Jason, so...
you know what? Honestly, Ryan, this is always a pleasure to talk with you.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yeah.
We want to welcome those who are joining us in Discord. Again, we will invite people to join us on our Discord. The link to the Discord is available in the show notes. It's free to join. It's easy to join. You get to watch me, Jason, live, and you get to join the discussion if you want. Add your comments, whatever you want during the show. And if it's clever or funny enough, or it tells us how amazing we are, we'll read it live on the air. At the very end of the show, you can also input what you think is the worst. So how this works, if you're a new listener to the show, what it is Jason and I will pick a topic, an idea, a concept, whatever it is, scour the internet, pick 10 things that we think are fun to talk about or interesting to talk about, whether it's from music, movies, news, conspiracy theories, and then at the end, independent of each other. Sometimes, well, quite frankly, we usually pick while we're recording what we think is the worst of those things. So there's either fun or the best things, and then we pick the worst from that, okay? Now, today's topic is another true crime, but like true crime, check out our sibling rivalry episode, where that was a true crime episode. And Jason, you made it through that one, okay?
Yeah, it ended up being better than I had anticipated.
Right. But this was a little bit more fun. So if you're a listener,
yeah, this is much more lighthearted.
This is true crime, but there's no brothers killing brothers like the or brothers strangling their sisters because the Wi-Fi got changed. So we hope you'll enjoy this more lighter side of true crime stories. And these were ones that took place in 2022. So if this is a success on our show, in 2023, or 24, I should say, we'll do the most bizarre crimes of 2023. We'll do that in 24. So these are crimes that occurred that made the news. I guess you could say they made the news. I think they're all stateside. I think there might have been one in the UK, if I remember correctly. But these are crimes that were committed, and people did get in trouble. Nobody died, but these are legit crimes that I would recommend not anyone doing. How do you want to pick the worst of this? Whatever crime is, like, you went to jail for this. This is the worst reason to go to jail for, maybe, or the worst injury, or the most evil of them, or how do you want to do it?
Like the worst reason to be arrested, maybe the reason for committing the crime. All the things you can get arrested for,
right?
This is why you're being arrested. So that's a lame reason.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think as we go through it, maybe the reason will change for the worst. At the end of the day, it's just what everyone makes me feel like this is the worst. Because I had a couple when I went through the stories where I have in my mind what I'd pick, but it doesn't matter which one we pick. That's a really small part of the show anyways. We're just going to have fun riffing and talking about these stories. Again, these are bizarre crimes that happened in 2022. This first one is titled, Woman Sets Bees Loose on the Police. On October 12th, 2022, 55-year-old Massachusetts woman Rory Wood was part of a group of protesters at a Longmeadow home. So the Hampden County Sheriff officers were serving a legal eviction notice, but they were, of course, opposed by this support group that were supporting the homeowners. So I guess these homeowners were getting evicted for whatever reason. I don't think the news article says why they're being evicted, but sheriffs were there saying, hey, you guys got to leave the premises. You're being evicted. And there was protesters there. So Rory Wood was one of those protesters. She doesn't live at the residence, but she's, I guess, supports the residents or the people there. So she arrives, Jason, in a beekeeper's suit in a van full of beehives.
Hampden County Sheriff's Department in Western Mass says a woman released thousands of bees so that deputies would get stung. Now, those deputies were trying to serve an eviction notice.
And they say the woman was determined to stop them. As WBZ's Julie McDonald shows us, she's now facing several charges.
No answer at her Hadley home tonight, nor was there any sign of bees. It was here in Longmeadow that the eviction was enforced. A neighbor told me if he hadn't witnessed the chaos himself, he couldn't have believed it.
A large padlock secures this memory lane home in Longmeadow Wednesday night. But just days prior, this property was buzzing with activity and an angry threat.
I've been doing this for 17 years, and we try to do a great job of sizing up different situations that we're walking into each day. It was Miss Woods' arrival with her vehicle and trailer that really kind of caused things to go haywire, if you will.
While the homeowner was at court trying to delay his eviction, neighbors saw someone drive past law enforcement in an SUV and trailer. According to investigators, it was Rory Woods, who doesn't live there.
Maybe it was somebody coming to pack some things up, but then she started to open up crates and release bees.
You can see in these images the struggle that ensued. Woods allegedly smashed a lid and flipped a hive, causing the bees to swarm. She apparently came prepared with a professional beekeeper suit, but several people were stung, and Longmeadow neighbors feared for their kids.
They have some children that have allergies to bees, and there was thousands of bees that were circulating in the air.
One person from the sheriff's department was taken to the hospital but is okay. Witnesses said it made something already unfortunate just feel so much worse.
Nobody likes to see that happen, but I think we all were concerned as the situation started to escalate and get heated.
And Woods was arraigned on several charges, including assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon, the bees, and disorderly conduct. In Longmeadow, Julie McDonald, WBZ News.
I love the name of the news, WBZ News. Bzz News. I don't know why that made me laugh. Okay. To end this story, though, Wood was immediately taken into custody and arraigned for multiple assault and battery charges. She was released without bail, but the charges are still pending. While handcuffed and walked to the police car, we saw a picture of that, she was told that some of the officers were allergic to bees, and she replied by saying, "Oh yeah, good." Okay.
What I found interesting, though, is this became the story and not what they were protesting.
I'm sure if we dug a little bit more, we could find out why they're being evicted. And there was a protest to that eviction. Who knows? Right.
This trumped the actual reason that she was there. I have no idea why she's there other than she decided to protest, an eviction.
For her to say good, people are allergic. Oof, that's not going to go. That's not going to go well with your defense lawyer, because that is your intent to harm or even kill somebody. An allergic reaction could be deadly to people.
Yeah. On a very serious note, I mean, an allergic reaction to bees is serious.
Of course.
And if somebody had died, it'd be like a manslaughter or something. It could have escalated quite quickly from the charge that she has now to something very serious.
Yeah, Donald says that I would unleash moose. Okay, because we're Canadian, I guess that's the joke there. And let me tell you, have you seen a moose? They're scary. They're big.
They are scary. They don't mess around. I've seen enough reels on Instagram to know they don't mess around.
Okay, Jay, you got number 9?
Yeah, so this is a story of a bride lacing food at her wedding with marijuana. A Florida woman, Dania Svoboda, and her caterer, Jocelyn Bryant, thought lacing wedding guests' dishes with marijuana would be a cute prank. Not only was it not cute, but it was also a crime. Things went south at the April wedding quickly as people had adverse reactions to the food. One guest began vomiting, another thought she was having heart issues and retreated to her car. Some guests had hallucinations, and others had dark thoughts about their loved ones. And I wonder if others maybe had more fun.
Yeah, maybe people wouldn't have been as bored.
I thought the same thing, bored. Weddings are not that interesting.
They really aren't. So again, if you're not watching our YouTube channel, it's bustling. It's a bustling activity. So join our YouTube channel and you can see some of these clips as we watch them.
This February wedding in Florida went from this to this.
We're just at the wedding. Me and my girlfriend were talking, and I feel like there's some kind of drugs in me or something, and I don't know what's happening.
New police body camera video obtained by Top Story showing a guest being wheeled out of the event on a stretcher.
We all have been affected somehow by what was put in the food.
The Seminole County Sheriff's Department now saying the bride, Dania Glenny, was behind it. Police confronted her and the groom that night.
Bride and groom?
Okay, now watch this.
Yes,
pause it.
you're right.
Police are saying bride and groom. Now, it's interesting because the groom's face is covered because he's innocent. Look at his reaction. He legit didn't. The wife, or fiance at the time when she arranged this, and wife now, did not tell the groom, her husband, this was happening. He didn't know this was happening. He's answering truthfully, but watch the bride's face because she's like, it was me. She doesn't say anything though. To her, not to her credit, but you can tell she's got the guilt. No, her face is right at the camera. Watch, you'll see her. Well, not right at the camera, but you'll see her to the left. Interesting to watch the dynamics because at this time the husband has no idea what's going on. Why the party has turned into what it's turned into. So yeah, here we go.
Bride and groom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, a couple questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, supposedly, your food had cannabis inside of it when your guests eat it. Did you guys authorize that?
I have no idea.
I just need a yes or no, man. Did you guys authorize it for the catering company? To have cannabis placed in the food, edibles, whatever the case may be?
No, sir.
Okay. I just need both of your IDs.
The 42-year-old bride is now facing felony charges for allegedly lacing the food at her wedding with marijuana.
You guys with catering?
Yeah, we're just putting stuff away.
Yeah, don't put anything away yet.
Police collected food on scene to test.
Might be transporting a couple more people to the hospital because of this.
According to the incident report from police, the evidence collected included chocolate-covered strawberries and pudding shots. Of the 30 to 40 attendants, several reported feeling ill to police. Miranda Katie telling our affiliate WESH she was there, the bride, a friend of hers.
My heart was racing.
Katie says another guest at her table suspected it.
He's like, are we stoned right now? And everyone's just kind of looking around each other laughing, and we absolutely were. We were high as a kite, all of us, out of our minds.
The bride's caterer, Joycelyn Bryant, also arrested and facing the charges of reckless tampering, culpable negligence, and delivery of marijuana. Police telling us the investigation is still ongoing. We reached out to both women and the groom for comment and did not immediately hear back.
I think people just want an explanation. So many of my friends who wouldn't want me speaking with you, but I think it's so important that people stand up for what's right. And, you know, you have to respect other people's free will and boundaries and option to have a choice in something like that.
This is a big red flag for this husband. The fact that she thought and the catering company would agree to this. At this time that this happened, Florida's still illegal to have marijuana. So this is still a legal substance. But even still, even if it was legal, you don't know people are allergic. People can have allergic reactions, obviously, to any kind of drug, let alone marijuana. People do have allergic reactions mixed with their medications they're on and what have you.
The dosing? Oh, I usually have this amount, but you're sitting there chomping down 3 or 4 cups worth of chocolate mousse.
Sure.
Having no idea how much you're taking in.
Now, no one died. People were hospitalized. People were puking. Again, maybe mixed with alcohol, mixed with medications they're on. Can you imagine this is your wife? So embarrassing for that poor groom, that poor husband. What is their conversation that night?
I don't know if he would even still be married to her.
I think that qualifies as an annulment. I think that would qualify as one.
I mean, you're right, though. It's the red flag was raised high on that night.
Oh, man. So people are commenting here. Yeah, I agree, Mia, that the bride in that initial video, she looked like she was trying to laugh. She might be that type of woman, no offense to any ladies listening, who's never been told no in her life before. You know, she's pretty. Mm-hmm. You know, this is probably not her first marriage at 42, I dare say, or something. I wonder what happened in her first marriage. I'm just guessing. But I feel like she's kind of that pretty lady girl who's never been told no. She feels like she's gotten away with stuff. It's just not a very sound decision. I'd be interested to know what she does for work. Or does she just marry rich? It looked like a pretty kind of a ritzy wedding. So I suspect the groom probably had money. Yeah, good luck to their catering company and all that good stuff. Why would the catering company agree to that?
That's crazy.
She's lost her business at the very, like she's out of business. They shut you down. That's done. I mean, the other lady can get remarried, but this other lady loses her business. That's even more of a... All right. Okay, the next one. You ready? Another food one. Jay, have you ever heard of Tyson Foods?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I never have. Have anyone in our chat heard of Tyson?
Oh, really?
Foods? No, I don't. I've never heard of it.
They're huge.
Okay. Well, they're famous for chicken, hot dogs, and countless other delicious foods. Everyone knows Tyson's but me. Okay. Now, the Tyson name carries respect, and no member of that family, I guess it's a family business, would ever want to bring shame to the family name. But that's exactly what happened on November 6, 2022, when John R. Tyson, the chief financial officer for the meat giant and great-grandson of the founder John W. Tyson, the younger John wandered drunkenly into a random person's Arkansas house early in the morning and proceeded to get undressed. He made his way to a bedroom, fell asleep. When the homeowners realized the stranger was sleeping Goldilocks style in their home, they called, of course, the authorities.
Tonight, a University of Arkansas professor is reacting to police body cam video showing Tyson Foods CFO John Tyson being arrested by Fayetteville police and charged with public intoxication, criminal trespassing. Now, 4029 obtained that video through a Freedom of Information Act request. We have 4029's Phil Reed now joining us live in Fayetteville with what that professor had to say.
I've watched these clips, of course, already, and this is one of them. There's a couple that are really bad, but no offense to this young gentleman here who's the reporter on the ground or whatever you call them. He mumbles. I can't understand what he says half the time. Just tell me if I'm crazy.
Phil?
So, Brandon, Tyson fell asleep in a college-age woman's home. Finance professor Thomas Yondick tells me that it's never a good look when someone of that stature gets arrested, and he says it'll be interesting to see how Tyson Foods handles the situation.
Did you catch all that? Okay, Jason, it's good to be on the podcast with you today. He's a teeth talker. You gotta open your mouth. Okay, so here's the cam footage. This is real. This is hilarious.
I mean, just seeing this screenshot is horrible.
Yeah, I wish I could be.
The guy's tapping him.
Yeah. Okay, so this is fantastic. It almost looks like a prank. Is this real? So here we go. So obviously, there's a third police officer who's got the cam footage on his body there, and so we're gonna. Wakey, Tyson. This is not his bed. This is not his house.
Fayetteville Police Department. The video show officers trying to wake up 32-year-old John Tyson out of the stranger's home. Tyson appears disoriented.
You have two options. Either one is you sit up and put your clothes on, or two, you go to jail just like you are right now.
He tried to put the covers back on him when officers lifted them off.
Hands behind your back. Fayetteville Police Department.
Eventually, officers handcuffed Tyson, who was in his underwear, put him in the squad car, and took him to jail.
Obviously, videos like these are sad.
Thomas Yondick, professor.
I don't know why we get this commentary from this professor, but so
yeah, whatever commentary do we really need about this arrest? He's in somebody else's house and drunk. He has to go.
There's this professor. So ignore the professor commentary that wasn't mentioned at the beginning of the video. I'm not too sure why we get this university professor. It confused me at first. Was he part of the crime? But no, he's just commenting. So when the police arrive, the residents informed them that the door was unlocked. So the guy, Tyson, was able just to walk right into the house. Lock your house, folks. Tyson was not charged with break and entry, but he was charged with public intoxication and criminal trespassing. In addition to the expected backlash from this kind of situation, the fact that he had only had this position of CFO since September of that year, it brought serious concerns to the investors despite Tyson's apology. So John had already been scrutinized by shareholders for his lack of experience. Obviously, nepotism in the company, right? He got the job because
his family.
Shareholders and investors in the company were like, we don't know if we trust this guy for this important position. And now it seems that their concerns were legit. Jason, you've got your life handed to you on a silver platter. You got a job for life. How hard is it to not get into, like, he's 32. Like, how hard is it to not get drunk or intoxicated or drugged out? Just show up to work Monday to Friday, pretend to be a CFFO, hire someone who knows what they're doing. You hold the title, hire someone who knows what they're doing. You just hold the title, sit back, play solitaire on your computer, and go home at the end of the day. These people have it so easy, and they just ruin it.
Yeah, you broke that down perfectly. I don't think the law professor could have done a better job than what you just said.
Well, I'm no university professor, but
you don't need to be. Yeah, you don't need to be. But that was well said. It's surprising how easy people have it and how hard it is to keep it.
I'm actually watching the criminal documentary I've talked about this before. I do like true crime. So I'm watching a true crime series on Netflix right now called The Murdaugh Murders.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never heard of the story before. And whenever I start a documentary, I always skip. Like when I first start the documentary, I do all the skipping till it goes to the title card. Because they always show they advertise the show you're about to watch with a bunch of sound bites and stuff. So I knew nothing about this case. I didn't Google it. I always go into true crime blind. So I'm halfway through it. And yes, Mia just told me that the gentleman just got convicted. So I did hear that. No, it's fine. That's not really a spoiler. I saw the headline too. So it's kind of cool that I know that because I just got to the part of the show where the murders were actually committed, because I'm halfway through the show and no murders have been committed because it's called the Murdaugh Murders. And I'm like, who got killed? I'm confused as I'm watching the events. I knew nothing about the story. I say all this because the family in this state, Hampton County, where is it again? Mia says it's her state. Anyways, they're a rich family who've gotten away, well, almost with murder, but they're one of those, it's so...
Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that they are that is very...
I'm not there yet, so don't spoil anything.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm watching it blind, so things are unraveling for me with this family. Anyways, it's just nepotism and, money buys. Like they own the law in that county. They own the law.
It's interesting. I mean, going back to that bride who laced the food with marijuana, just the cavalierness of that behavior, the recklessness. It's like, you're right. No one has ever said no to her before.
No.
Like, you're completely acting out.
She had a smug, almost like, cavalier, like her
You're
face.
42-year-old teenager.
All right, Jay, you got the next one.
Okay. So July of 2022, Manchester, UK, Joshua Dobson was arrested on suspicion of grand theft auto, driving on a suspended license and leaving a gas station without paying. The authorities tracked him to his home, intending to arrest him. When he arrived, however, Dobson was nowhere to be found. While searching Dobson's residence, police noticed an oversized stuffed bear that seemed to be breathing. Eventually, the jig was up and Dobson was caught.
A car thief tried to hide from police inside this giant stuffed teddy bear, and it's true. The Greater Manchester Police in Rockdale, England, released these photos of the bear. They say an 18-year-old tried to hide inside it after stealing a car and filling it with gas without paying. While searching for the man, officers noticed the large bear breathing, and sure enough, they found the teenager inside. The bear stands about 5 feet tall, and police believe the teenager got inside through a tear on its backside.
They believe?
Yeah,
they're still researching the options. It's under investigation of how he got into the teddy bear. Here's a picture of a big torn out chunk of his butt.
The kid ripped open and stuffed himself in there, which is odd.
How small was this kid? But that's not a very big hole.
This was weird because the kid steals a car. So this kid's obviously he's got issues. The kid steals a car. He fills it up with gas. Fair enough. He's running out of gas with a stolen car. Doesn't pay for the gas. Gets caught by the police. Why didn't he just hide behind a bush? Or just make a run for it on foot? By doing this, he got caught. I wonder how he just ran away on foot. Did people know?
Well, they did. They went to his house, right?
Oh, okay. I missed that. Okay. You're caught either way. This might just indicate the intelligence level of this 18-year-old.
The fact that he's stealing cars.
That he's hiding in a stuffed bear. What does he think? Let's just pretend the police can't find him. And he crawls out of the bear and he's like, whew, I got out of this. Or is he going to spend the rest of his life as a bear? Where is this kid? The bear's like, it's like how far was he going to go with this guy? It might work for 5 minutes, but he's going to have to come out eventually. So Joshua was sentenced to 9 months in prison for his crimes. After sentencing, this is bad, but I got to give the police credit, okay, for this. But this is what they said. The police made a statement, quote, "He's now stuffed behind bars after being sentenced last week for theft of a motor vehicle, driving while disqualified, and making off petrol station without paying. Hopefully, he has a bearable time inside." Okay, number 6. In May of 22, a Florida man, David Proudfoot, dressed up as a Disney World employee and proceeded to remove several expensive decorative pieces, including an RTD2 replica from its place at the Swan Reserve, a hotel on the Disney property in Orlando, Florida. All told, he moved both the statue and an arcade game, among other things, over several incidents on Disney property. He had applied for a position as a security guard beforehand, and he intended to prove his worth as a security guard to be by revealing holes in Disney security. This sounds like a movie plot. Let me show you all the holes that you have in security. I'm your perfect security guard because I can show you.
Right.
Actual security guard who got the job noticed Proudfoot,
who was employed.
So a real security guard noticed this activity by Proudfoot because Proudfoot was pushing a cart with the replica statue across the street. So when the security guard confronted Proudfoot, he proceeded to identify himself as David E. Rogers, a Disney employee. So he gave a false name to say he was an employee. But they found his ID. He's not David E. Rogers. He's David Proudfoot. And he then admitted to taking a $10,000 statue, but claimed he was not going to take the item off Swan property. Now, this is kind of true because, Jason, I'm sure you know this. If I'm in a store, my understanding is I can put an item in my pocket. It's not till you attempt to leave the store without paying that you're then Because I can theory say I don't have a bag, so I'm putting the candy bars in my pocket, or I'm putting the soda can in my jeans to carry, but I'll pay for it at the till. My understanding is you're actually allowed to place items in your purse, in your bag, or in your pockets. It's not till you leave the store, attempt to leave that's shoplifting. So that's what he's saying. He's saying, I wasn't really going to go home with this. I was just proving the security's bad. That was his argument.
Well, a man from right here in Central Florida has been arrested after deputies say he posed as a Disney cast member and then stole a Star Wars R2-D2 droid. Deputies say that this man, 44-year-old David Proudfoot of Kissimmee, wanted to get a job on the Disney security team, so he was trying to, quote, show weaknesses in the security of the resorts. Proudfoot faces multiple charges, including grand theft.
You can't just take stuff, even though you're still on the property. I mean, it's still theft.
For Disney, yeah, I don't think they like the idea of you dismantling their stuff.
yeah. Like, but if you're walking through a store and you took, say, a cash register, I'm not talking about like even money or whatever, but you took the cash register and you're just walking around the store with, like, I didn't leave the store, but you it's an implied,
right,
that you stole something that, even though it wasn't for sale, right? That's not for sale.
He has a criminal record, as it turns out, anyways.
Yeah, he looks like he would.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so
this one's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, it is. So on September 18th, 2022, there was a 23-year-old victim who was standing on the street in New York. Yeah, Manhattan. Yeah, he's on the phone, and some guy came out of a car and approached him and asked him for food. Where's my food?
Yeah, where's my
And the guy's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then kind of walked away, hoping that would be the end of the situation.
Yeah. Buddy gets out of his vehicle and says, hey, man, where's my food?
Where's my food?
And the guy's like, sorry, man, I don't know what you're talking about. And walks away. Okay.
So he's walking away, and the suspect that attacked him, punching him in the head. The 23-year-old got to his feet and attempted to flee the situation. The mugger then pursued him down the sidewalk. Eventually, the victim tripped, fell, and rolled right in front of an oncoming SUV. Luckily, the driver stopped in time, and the victim suffered only superficial injuries. The victim dropped his bag and cell phone, which the mugger then picked up. The victim then managed to retrieve the bag before the mugger got back into his car and drove off. Police are still looking for the suspect.
Yeah, this is weird because he was actually driving a Nissan Rogue, which isn't a shabby vehicle. I looked it up. It's, a basic model, $31,000. So this guy's driving around in a decent car or just decides to physically attack some poor 23-year-old. And of note, the suspect is 6'2", 210 pounds. And they made that note of that because he's a big guy compared to probably this 23-year-old kid who just literally just got attacked. The guy asked for food, didn't have it. I wonder what would have happened had he had a sandwich on him and gave it to this guy. Would he have said thank you for the sandwich and walked off? But he got physically assaulted after walking away.
Well, there's probably a good chance, number one, is that car is not his. The Nissan Rogue is probably not his vehicle. He's just using "Where's my food" as a icebreaker to get his attention. You know what I mean? Like,
now he did walk with the cell phone, which you could sell on the black market and maybe get a couple bucks for that. But that's a weird one. That's bizarre indeed. What makes that one bizarre is the randomness of it and being mugged. Sure, that's not bizarre, but having somebody ask for food, you don't see very many people leave their vehicle and assault people on the street asking for food. I think that's what makes that one a little bit different. Poor kid.
Yeah.
At least he survived. Superficial injuries. Okay. So, Jason, this one. In October of 22, an American tourist visited the Vatican, hoping to meet the Pope. Okay, right away, who thinks that's going to happen? It's like going to, I don't know, it's like going to Hollywood hoping to meet Brad Pitt. Like, really, you're just, where is he? Well, I want to meet him.
That would be even easier.
Probably
than to meet up. Yeah.
It'd probably be easier to get a conversation with Brad Pitt in Hollywood than it would be with the Pope in the Vatican. Sure. Yeah. Okay. So this guy, so this tourist, he is in the Vatican demanding to see the Pope. He was informed, of course, that his wish would not be granted, and it all went south from there because the man then immediately rushed off. He grabbed an ancient Roman statue at the Chiaramonte Museum, and he threw it to the floor.
A tourist threw two 2,000-year-old Roman busts to the ground in the Vatican museums. It is unclear how the man was able to throw these sculptures down, as they are normally anchored to their platforms. However, a tour guide was able to prevent him from destroying a third. The man broke the bust after being denied an audience with the Pope. He is now detained under the Italian authorities. To bust are part of the Chiaramonti Museum, which collects Roman portraits and is named after Pope Pius VII.
Other tourists were shocked by this, and as you would be. Apparently the second one, though, according to this news story as well, he broke the second one by accident when he ran away. He knocked one over. So, and all the king's horses and all the king's men, they had the museum fixer-upper people, the restoring people, and they couldn't fix it. They couldn't restore the artifacts. So
that's actually quite a tragic response.
Oh yeah, they're 2,000-year-old statues. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, in that building or wherever, that museum is beautiful.
Oh yeah,
look at those statues.
That'd be amazing to see it. Of course, yeah.
Amazing.
It's art. It's world history art, right? Like,
longer we go, the less and less things that we have of that nature. That's brutal.
With this next story, Jay, I just want to preface this right now before you read it. These news commentators, I actually wrote a comment on their piece here. I couldn't help myself. I wrote a comment. I said, worst commentators I've ever seen, absolute hacks. These people are talking about something they should already have an idea of what they're going to talk about. There's no way they're seeing this live, right? There's a guy that you don't see off screen. He'll start talking over this guy. It's a gong show of a conversation. So I kind of want to talk about the story itself because the story is interesting. But their commentation on it is cringe. It's actually hard to watch. I can't believe these people are...
Should we introduce the story, though? Why is this another food story?
Well, actually, not just that. This guy used to work for Tyson Foods.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So go ahead and read the story.
So another story based around food.
Yeah.
So Beyond Meat, I'm sure we're familiar with this company. Beyond Meat is a plant-based meat producer, which is a ironic name, but anyway, a plant-based meat producer known to be vegetarian and vegan friendly. It's possible that COO Doug Ramsey may not be either vegan or friendly. On September 17th, Ramsey attended a football game at the University of Arkansas Stadium. Fights breaking out among fans is a rather common occurrence at the stadium, but this one was a bit unusual. Ramsey was attempting to exit the parking lot when his car was hit by another driver. Ramsey completely lost it. He reportedly punched through the back windshield of the other car. When the driver got out of his car, Ramsey punched him in the face and proceeded to bite off his nose, threatening to kill him. By the time the police arrived, both men were covered in blood. Ramsey was arrested for terroristic threatening and third-degree battery, was released on an $11,000 bond. Ramsey had spent 30 years with Tyson Foods before moving Beyond Meat. He officially resigned in October after less than a year with the company. Holy.
Again, another privileged behavior. Think about this is privileged behavior. If somebody hit me in the parking lot, I'd be more like, oh, this is irritating. All right, give me your insurance. Let's exchange. It's a ding, it's a dent. It's a ding or a dent, whatever. It can be fixed, insurance will cover it. Even if you ran away, my insurance will cover it. That's what it's for. Ellie in our chat saying, yay, my state is awesome. So we have two people in our Discord where they've had things happen in their states. That's funny. Yeah, Beyond Meat is this guy who ran it is an offshoot of Tyson's Foods. So I get it. I think it's that, and he's with them for 30 years. I think it's that entitled...
Yeah.
Did they really have to work any day in their life? They have a title, but they don't do it. And I guarantee you, this guy, Ramsey, I'm betting right now, he ate meat. He might have been CEO of Beyond Meat, but he was eating hamburgers and hot dogs. I got this feeling this guy was a meat eater. But Mia did say, this is what happens when you don't eat meat.
Thank you for saying that. I was wanting to say something similar. He was probably just starving for real protein. Just lost it.
Okay, now just listen to this. So we've told you the story. Jason and I have commented on it, on the fly type thing. Listen to these guys commenting on the same story. This is ridiculous commentary. I can't even handle it, but we'll play a bit of it here.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. It's time for the Executive Edge, and we're going to start with major legal trouble, perhaps, for Beyond Meat's COO, Doug Ramsey, who was an anchor at CNBC. Well, different Doug Ramsey.
This was a crazy story.
Yeah, he was arrested for allegedly biting a man's nose in a parking garage after an Arkansas college football game. I don't think he just went up and did that. I think there was like a fight, and that was something he resorted to a nose bite. He was charged with terroristic threatening and third-degree battery. A police report says the altercation happened in a parking garage near the University of Arkansas Razorback Stadium. Ramsey allegedly punched through the back windshield of a vehicle after it made contact with his car's front tire. And the owner of the other vehicle is said to have gotten out, and then Ramsey allegedly punched him and bit his nose. Ramsey has served as Beyond Meat COO since December. Previously, he spent 3 decades at Tyson.
Okay, so you're on the board of Beyond Meat. What do you do?
I mean, I guess I'd look into more details, but from what I've heard, this is pretty shocking. How?
First, you deal with all the obvious comments that are going to be on Twitter about, well,
the vegetarians. We could
first to deal with that,
yeah.
and then I guess the cannibal. I don't know. There's all that stupid stuff. You ever been in a really bad fight? It's like you resort to
Happily.
you kind of just like if you're really in pain and you're getting I guess you'd try anything. Remember Mike Tyson bit off some guy's ear.
Yeah, but he punched the back windshield.
Some guys, just some guy.
Maybe it was a college football game. Perhaps some alcohol was involved. Have we decided?
I don't know which is more concerning, if there was or wasn't alcohol.
Oh no, they had
to.
College stuff happens at because people get just toasted in for 4 quarters.
And then they're in their cars
driving
away.
And then they get mad, and there's
breaking the windshield
fans versus
the whole thing
there's fans from different and you get the SEC. And
if it was all in self-defense, maybe.
You mean not the security?
Give him a pass.
No, not the Securities Exchange, but big fans on both sides of it.
Self-defense. He's the one that launched.
And they yell things at each other.
No, it's like you're the CEO of a publicly traded company.
College.
Be careful. I remember college too.
Big 8.
But you weren't on the.
Oklahoma would come into town, and those guys were just ready. They were the roughnecks into Colorado, and we're all like hippies.
Yeah, I can't stop. She's telling me to stop. Listen to this.
Toasted for a different reason. No, that was neither. That wasn't me.
This is a difficult conversation. This is one of those things that only the New York Post can do this story well. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, and there will is it. Yeah,
she is so lost in this conversation and be able to comment at all. She's actually passing the buck live on air. Only the New York Post can make sense of this conversation. No. Jason and I just did it right now, very quickly in about 35 seconds. It's not that hard. The guy's a moron.
Well, we repeated exactly the same lines that he was asked to read. And he was just sitting back, his
demeanor.
Even his reading of the lines.
He's trying to... Yeah. And then the other guy's like, oh, yeah, I've happily never been in a fight. Okay. Ooh, look at you.
Yeah, I can see that you...
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to... and then the female news anchor is like... Oh, this is something the New York Post can handle. This is too complicated for us to handle. No, the guy's a rage. He's a rage. He came out, road rage, bit a guy's nose. There's no reason. You don't bite people's nose off in self-defense. Like, this is ridiculous. The other guy was in self-defense mode. He probably got out of his car to exchange. He probably got out of the car to exchange notes. Like, I'm sorry, dude. It sounds like this other CEO guy went nuts.
Yeah, and he probably was completely, as the news guy said, toasted. Toasted.
And then I don't know if you caught that older guy, he was talking about how back in the day he used to be around people that smoked marijuana, but that wasn't me. I never did that. He quickly had to say that. But he was being kind of serious. Like, I don't want to lose my relax.
Right.
You know, just relax. If a president of the United States can smoke marijuana, I'm sure a newscaster can. Anyways, I just wanted to also show how terrible those. I can't believe those people are getting paid to do this. News anchors in general, it's called the squawk box. So the idea is it's kind of like a comment. They're just
they're supposed to be bantering about the top. Yeah,
it's horrible. Mia asked me to make it stop. I'm sorry, we had to go through that, but
this is why they're on the local news, Ryan. This is local news.
I don't know, maybe with the squawk box, but
it's NBC.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's CNBC.
These aren't national.
I could Google somebody Google squawk box. Let me know if it's on Wikipedia. That means it's legit. Like, this is beyond local news. Okay. Anyways, that was horrific. This story is almost the worst story just because of their commentary, but that's not the okay. All right, Jay, you've got number 2. I think this is I got this one. Sorry, I think this one might be my favorite story. I think I might just show.
There are a lot of issues with this story. The suspect telling investigators he did it because he feared his friend was going to feed him to Bigfoot.
And tonight, the shock is still settling in for their loved ones. News 4's Caitlin Ogle is in Pontotoc County with the new details.
I think they're grappling with the news that Bigfoot is real.
So did we catch this?
I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to learn that Facebook was real this way.
First, I do like this Caitlin Ogle. I like how she pointed. Why is everyone so bad at their job? She goes, the correction facility behind me. So she actually points with her thumb over her shoulder and looks behind her. We understand what behind you means. Like, where behind you? That big building that says that's the center?
That has the name.
The name on. Why are people so bad at their jobs? Oh, by the way, Jason, they're mentioning the two friends went noodling. Do you know what noodling is? I thought it was a gay sex act between two men, but no. Noodling is catfishing with your hands, your bare hands.
Okay.
So these two men, probably not no offense to the people in the South, Mia. She says it's fun. Not the smartest people in the world here. What is it about the South? Why are you guys? Oh my gosh, you guys are funny. Okay, this story.
So we got noodling, we got the Sasquatch, and we got a friend.
Two grown men, our age, dude. They're about our age, if not 1 or 2 years older, younger, whatever. They're about our age, middle-aged men. They're best friends forever. They went noodling, but during their noodling excursion, one guy was like, "Bigfoot's here, and I was brought here to be used as bait for Bigfoot. My buddy brought me here to feed me to Bigfoot." Okay. Mia, they were drunk. How dare you? They were sober of mind. How dare you?
The ex-wife of the victim tells me, you got to remember, these two were friends. Their kids dating each other. Now the two families grieving together.
He is just a good old country boy.
A father and grandfather now gone after a noodling trip with a friend. The OSBI says on Saturday, Larry Sanders and Jimmy Knighton headed to the South Canadian River to catch catfish with their hands. But later things would go awry.
He believed that Mr. Knighton had basically tricked him into being out there.
That's when agents say Sanders, quote, discovered Jimmy intended to feed him to Sasquatch or Bigfoot, and that he, quote, believed Jimmy was trying to get away from him so that the Sasquatch could eat Larry. Records say the two, quote, fought on the ground for roughly an hour.
He reported striking him multiple times and then also strangling him.
Later, Knighton's ex-wife, Stacey Kelly, says Sanders drove Knighton's truck back to Knighton's home where she and Knighton's son lives.
He was asking, I guess, where his dad was, and he said, your dad's not coming back.
She says Knighton and Sanders recently reconnected years after high school.
I think he was trying to keep Larry out of trouble a lot.
And their son dating Sanders' daughter.
Not only are they tied to Jimmy, but, now they have to live with the fact that their dad is the one that did this.
Court documents reveal Sanders told family what happened, and they called police. The 53-year-old later arrested on an outstanding warrant while the OSBI was called in.
Mr. Sanders was able to provide the interviewing agents with a map that ultimately led to Mr. Knighton's body.
Now, two families are left trying to understand.
Okay, sorry, I mean, this is all terrible, but this poor lady here, I think she's the widow. Listen to, her. I know she's hard, but let's listen to what she says at the end here. I don't know why it made me laugh.
Still a person, and he has a family, and they have feelings. He's not just a news story, and he's not a Facebook joke, and he's not any of these things. He
kind of is a Facebook joke.
So the fact that these people...
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the story. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm just shocked that this is how we learned about the Sasquatch. That's the bigger story.
This is how I learned about
That's
noodling.
The bigger story.
So, this is my biggest takeaway from this. Is I had no idea what noodling is. I now know.
I would never have guessed.
So the one guy thought that he was being trapped or going to be used as bait. Well, they always say, Jason, if you're going to be eaten by Bigfoot, you just have to be faster than your friend, right? So what the guy did was he actually killed his friend to be used as a bait for Bigfoot. So I love how Bigfoot's sauntering over, and then he's like, here comes Bigfoot. I'm going to kill you or dismember you while Bigfoot is coming towards us, so he will eat you and not me as I run away. Instead of just both running away. That's essentially what happened.
Just throw the catfish that you're catching while noodling.
Yeah.
That Bigfoot. Leave that for bait.
Knighton's murder was brutal. According to police reports, Sanders struck his friend with fists. Oh my goodness.
They fought for an hour. Like an hour.
That's like the best.
Yeah, rounds?
That's like better than any UFC main event fight, man. Joe Rogan, imagine him on the sidelines commenting on that fight.
I can see them on the shoreline of this river, noodling in and out of the river, coming out of the river.
They have fishes on their hands.
In the river.
They have fishes on their hands and they're beating each other.
He's grabbing, like, dunking his head under the water and then pulling it back up.
So according to Sanders, Knighton had summoned Bigfoot to kill him. And the monster appeared before Knighton attempted to escape. So not wanting to be eaten by the Sasquatch, Sanders murdered Knighton so the Bigfoot would focus on the easy prey. However, Sanders is now facing murder charges. That is the best story we've read so far. It does involve murder. I'm sorry for the loss of their father, and it is kind of a Facebook joke. I'm sorry, lady. I'm laughing too much. Okay, but yes, they lost a father and a husband, and I'm sorry. But pick better friends, folks. Pick better friends. Jason, you got the last one?
Okay. We all know, of course, there has to be a story in here that revolves around Walmart.
Yeah, I'm surprised I took this one. Yeah.
We all know that people tend to act out of hand at Walmart from time to time. Oh, really?
We should probably do an episode on Walmart one day.
Yeah, that'd be
maybe
great.
We'll make our next one.
The best dressed people of Walmart.
They look in the mirror like, yeah, I'm wearing this. This is it. This is what I like. It's oof. You've seen those people who are listening and watching. Go on YouTube and Google or search for people of Walmart.
Okay, whether shopping in here we go. Whether shopping in pajamas or being overly entitled, we expect the bazaar at the famous chain store. However, nothing could prepare one month.
Oh, Jason got kicked out. Just wait there, folks.
Whether shopping in pajamas or being overly entitled, we expect the bazaar at the famous chain store. However, nothing could prepare one mother for what happened in January 2022.
A woman is out on bond and facing charges after investigators say she tried buying a mother's child from her at a Crockett Walmart. 49-year-old Rebecca Taylor is charged with sale or purchase of a child. Police say Taylor approached a mother with her baby and one-year-old son on January 13th and asked if she could buy the boy, saying that she could pay $250,000 in cash. The mother said no and walked away. We are told that Taylor began yelling, saying that she would pay $500,000 and that she was going to take him. Taylor is now out on a $50,000 bond.
If I had a little toddler and a baby in my arms and somebody offered me $500,000 to take the last one, I've got one already. This little baby doesn't know me yet. I wonder what would have happened had she said, okay, sure, $500,000. Obviously, she's but I wonder how far the transaction would have gone. Did she have the money stored up somewhere? Could they have made a purchase?
I don't know where the rest of the story goes, but my guess is they'd be lured outside of the parking lot, and then somebody would jump out of a vehicle and take the baby.
It doesn't say what would have happened, of course.
Taylor was arrested on felony charges of attempted sale or purchase of a child. Though she denied all allegations, she claimed she was at Walmart simply minding her own business. Yeah, the business of buying babies.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty extreme thing to be. Can you imagine? You really were there just mind your own business and you all of a sudden got charged for trying to buy a baby?
Somebody comes up with a story of random...
Oh, okay. All right, well, off you go. Oh, man. Well, there you go, folks. There are the 10 bizarre crimes committed in 2022. We hope more happen. I wonder if any more crimes will happen in 23 that we can talk about next year. But a quick rundown. Let us know in the comments which one you think is the worst. Okay, so woman sets bees loose on the police. Bride laces wedding food with marijuana. Tyson Foods guy sleeps in the bed. Car thief caught hiding the stuffed teddy bear. The man stealing the R2-D2. The poor schmuck on the road with his phone and asked about food and was chased and beaten up for it. Tourist destroys the sculptures after not being allowed to see the Pope. The vegetarian food company bites off the man's nose in a fight in the parking lot. Man kills the friend over Bigfoot. And lastly, woman tries to buy a baby at Walmart. Jay, you got your worst and the reason why it's your worst?
It's got to be the Sasquatch, the two men noodling each other.
Well, yeah, it's really the worst results. A man lost their life. But go ahead.
The reason for it is not necessarily the delusional reason for going that distance. To kill your friend so the Sasquatch would eat him so that you could escape from the Sasquatch. That is the most far-fetched explanation for killing your friend.
Fair. It's a terrible explanation. And they fought for an hour. Like, was the Sasquatch just watching, waiting for the outcome?
He's so lazy, Ryan. He's just waiting for whoever gets killed. I'll eat that. I guess I'll eat that guy.
Yeah. All right. So Mia thinks that's the funniest one. Do you guys have any picks for what you think is the worst one and why? Donald said the bees lady is the worst for him. in that the woman didn't even live there where the problem was, so she got in trouble for literally nothing. We don't know what her connection was. That's the problem. But yeah, you're right. She wasn't being evicted.
And actually, the B one isn't that far in my own mind either.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because it's so random.
It's attempted homicide. Her lawyer will have a hard time with it, saying you were stated as saying good that they were allergic. That shows intent to harm, like real harm. That's not going to look good for her court appearance. Mia says the security guy won, the R2-D2 theft guy. That was just stupid. All right, so that's her pick. My pick might surprise you guys is actually the Tyson food guy sleeping in the bed, because it's kind of a low-key story. He was drunk, intoxicated on drugs, whatever. I find it so frustrating that people who have their life handed to them on a silver platter are just so ridiculously stupid with it. When people like me and my brother, you know, we work our butts off. We try very hard in this life. We work and scrape to get what we get in life, if that makes sense. And here's a guy who has his life taken care of. All he has to do is show up to work and keep his nose clean. And he throws it away by getting so drunk that he sleeps. And the shareholders, of course, are saying, we can't have this guy. And he loses his job. He had to step down, you know. And he probably still gets some sort of stipend from the company at the end of the day. It's just, that one bothered me the most, because it's just the crime and the results are just the worst. It was a frustrating one. The other ones were kind of funny or silly, but for me, that was my worst one. All right, well, that's the end of the episode. Remember, in front of every silver lining, there's a cloud. And today, for Jason, it was man killing his best friend to be eaten by Bigfoot, and mine was the Tyson food guy sleeping in a bed that wasn't his.
Gamma Gator Productions.